Hello, I'm Andrea from the Creative Dream Incubator. This is my weekly video update with what's going on with me and my dreams, what I'm learning, what I'm struggling with, what I'm exploring. So last week I was talking about following creative flow, how we think it's one thing, but really it's quite different than how we think it should be or how we want it to be. Um, this week, though, I was in that creative flow that is exactly the way that I wanted it to be, like having lots of creative momentum, having lots of productivity and lots of progress. And that feels amazing. I'm working on the Year of Dreams 2019. I'm getting the pages done. So I was having my meeting with my dream this morning, and I was just noticing how grateful I'm feeling, how just kind of happy and relieved to see all this progress, this creative progress with my creative dreams, and to be able to have tangible things, to be able to see that I am making progress, to see it coming together. And it's like my dream wanted to remind me that, you know, like that's great. That kind of measurable progress is really great. But not all progress is measurable. And my dream wanted me to remember that um, this past little while, I've been doing a lot of work, inner work, dream work, and that stuff isn't measurable, but it's still important. And without that stuff, I can't get to the part where I have momentum and visible, measurable progress. So that was cool. It was like my dream wanted to remind me again how important it is, all of it, not to judge the parts where we are moving slower than we want to move in the outer world, right? So that's a thing to remember going forward. The thing I really wanted to talk about today is about being in that space that's in between where you are and where you want to be. So that's kind of what all dream work is engaging with that space of whatever it is that's between where you are and where you want to be. And um, when we're looking at just the outer work, often that's an impossible chasm, right? And there isn't a way to engage with that space. And that's why the inner work and the dream work are so important, because that's where you make the shifts that create possibilities in the outer world. And as I've been more present in the space between, I've been thinking about how rare it is for people to really deeply engage with that, and how I think just because of the nature of my job, when I meet people out in the world, they tell me about why they're not doing what they want to be doing with their lives. And they have all of these reasons, and the reasons are all totally valid and reasonable. But no one ever talks about how actually looking at that space between where I am and where I want to be is fucking terrifying. Like, I really think that's at the core of all of those reasons we have for not doing this, because it's just really scary to look at that, to look honestly at the things that are holding you back, and then figuring out what to do about them. So that's exhausting work. And that's also what my dream was trying to get at in my meeting with it this morning, about giving myself more credit for the inner work and the dream work, that this is hard stuff. And even when you're not making progress the way you wish you were, the way you want to be, even when you're seeing that gap between where you are and where you want to be is so big, and it doesn't seem to be changing, but the fact that you're engaging with it is actually a huge deal. So I mean this about the, like, when you just want to make changes in your outer life, but also about just changes in terms of being, how you're being. That's where I'm really noticing it for myself, especially this week. I don't always react to things in the way that I wish I did react. And I'm wishing that I had more patience with people, or wishing that I was less to be bitchy or sarcastic. Yeah, just wanting to be more patient with the people around me, more patient with myself, and not knowing how to do that in the moment. So that's where I've been kind of frustrated, personally, this week. And I think it's that there are times when I call it your true self. Like, people have a lot of different names for that part of us, where your true self is really wanting you to take some kind of evolutionary step. And kind of pushes you into these scenarios where you start to notice your own stuff. So I'm talking about like when I'm kind of less patient than I want to be with the people around me, but this is about anything, right? In the past for me, it was more about holding back my creative vision, not really wanting to put my ideas out there, making my dreams smaller than they needed to be. Also, people pleasing. I mean, there's a lot of different, and it doesn't really even really matter what it's about. It's that I think when your true self knows that it's time for you to take that evolutionary step, it starts to become more uncomfortable to do the thing that you've been doing. And so actually it's a good sign when you notice and are frustrated with yourself for not being where you want to be at, because you're really feeling into how called you are to go to that next level. So what I'm trying to do now is when I'm feeling frustrated with myself for not moving faster, trying to remind myself, hey, it's really great that you can see so clearly where you want to be. Let's celebrate that. When you see that difference between where you are and where you want to be, let's celebrate it, because you're really noticing what you want to do. You're really noticing what's not working. And can you move towards where you want to be by, celebrating, honoring, and acknowledging all of that, rather than by berating yourself for how you've been doing things. So just that shift and being more gentle in the process of growth, because engaging with that space between where you are and where you want to be is so tricky. And we are so brave for even being willing to look at it. So that's what I'm reminding myself of right now and exploring. I'm also starting to come down with a cold, so I'm going to keep this one short, but I will be back here next week.